Here's Goodnight Olive making her move to take the lead by a head around the far turn. Race Kane has nearly 10 lengths to make up, so does Scooby Guando, verifying the leader. Top of the stretch, Tap It Trice is coming onto the outside. Up to the mark is running late behind Master of the Seas. Set piece down the center of the course. Master of the Seas alongside Annapolis. Here's Elusive Princess coming after Maj, and Mission of Joy tries to find room between that pair. Maj has the lead. Mission of Joy second, Elusive Princess third. The champ in front. Goodnight Olive chased all the way. Tap It Trice! Tap It Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
And a good Saturday night, everybody. Welcome into the Keeneland Look Ahead. I'm Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now. We're going to look ahead to the Spinster Sunday card at Keeneland. First post will be 1 o'clock on Sunday. Some great college football, Major League Baseball playoffs, and great horse racing on this Saturday. Glad you took some time to join us. If it's Sunday morning and you're checking it out tomorrow in the archives, good luck this afternoon. Should be a fabulous day for racing at Keeneland. How's this? Sunny skies, temperature in the mid-80s. It's going to be a warm one out there at Lexington which should be just a fantastic day of racing. 3 stakes races scheduled on the Sunday card. Of course, the Spinster featuring last year's champion older mare in Idiomatic. She's back to defend her title in the Spinster. We also have the Indian Summer Stakes and also the Bourbon Stakes. So we've got 2-year-olds on the turf going short and long. Those 3 races come up towards the end of the card. We'll take a look at the full card and that overhead snapshot in just a little bit. Before we get to Sunday, though, let's talk about what happened on the track today at Keeneland. Fall Star Saturday did not disappoint. 5 major stakes races, all with Breeders' Cup implications for sure. If you didn't catch the action, it was our top pick, Our Shot, getting the stakes action underway at 4-1 in the Woodford Stakes for John Terranova. Nice win there from post 4. Power Post do it again, providing an exacta. So we will talk about that a little bit later as we handicap some turf sprints coming up on this card. The TCA Stakes won by Zeitlos with a rail rally for Steve Asmussen. We also had the First Lady Stakes on the card today, where it was Gina Romantica for the 2nd straight year rallying to win the race. And Gina Romantica, Chad Brown, he wins it for the 7th year in a row and 8th time overall. Breeders' Futurity, what a showdown we had there. We thought on paper between Ferocious and East Avenue. East Avenue said it's a one-way street. Nobody could go and get him. He ran away with it for Brendan Walsh, maybe the favorite now for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Certainly, he will be one of the top 2 choices as we get to the Breeders' Cup if everybody stays healthy. Nice-looking winner in New York today as well for Chad Brown. So Brown is loaded, and we'll talk about Chad Brown one more time here because he had the winner of the Turf Mile, the Coolmore Turf Mile, $1.25 million feature day. Carl Spackler with a little change of tactics, showed more speed than usual. Too tough to run down. A nice looking runner-up for More Than Looks for Cherie DeVoe, who had a big day. Brown and DeVoe both were rocking it today. So Brown had the 2 stakes wins. DeVoe had 2 wins, had a 2nd place finish on the in the big stakes race with More Than Looks. Goes with a win on yesterday. Her hand is absolutely red hot right now. The Cherie DeVoe trainees are running out of their skin. We saw this during the spring meet, and then it continued on for a little bit beyond that. So when her horses get hot, they really run it out. Do not be surprised if Cherie DeVoe doesn't have a big meet here during the fall at Keeneland. She's got 2 starters on the Sunday card, races 4 and 7. In my original handicapping, I didn't have them in the mix. First-time starter and experienced horses. They're going to move up now. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Again, good day for Chad Brown with the 2 stakes wins, of course. Carl Spackler and Gina Romantica. How about the riders today? 11 races on the card, 3 riding triples. I'm not sure I've ever seen that, where 3 jockeys all rang the bell 3 times on an 11-race card. Guys you would expect. Tyler Gaffione, Luis Saez, who are always battling 1-2 in the standings, and Jose Ortiz with a big day today with 3 wins. Of course, with Pratt riding in New York, with Irad, Joel Rosario in New York for a big day there at Belmont at the Big A. Jose Ortiz got a lot of really good mounts today, and he took advantage of it. Again, those 3 riders, 3 wins apiece for 9 total. How was the track today compared to opening day Friday? Not quite as fast. The times were closer to par, what we would expect, a little bit faster. I'd say this track's a couple lengths faster than par. Yesterday, it was many lengths faster than par on Friday. So a little more reasonable. Good horses ran good times. We got about what we'd expect out of that. East Avenue's 143.17 in the Breeders' Futurity. Exceptional. That's the fastest we've seen since That race went back to dirt 11 years ago. I think part of that is how well he ran in there and also the track being fast, but really impressive performance there. On the handicapping end, we said it was going to be a tough day for us. We knew this kind of going into it. I said the stakes races kind of looked like they could really chalk out, but I didn't have any creative opinions on really nice price horses. And it turned out that most of the stakes races were $7, $8, $9, $10 horses. Nothing big and nothing too short, but we didn't do great with that. We had one stakes horse. We did have one winner in the finale as well. So 2 wins on the card out of 11. Not a great day. $20.28 in return. So we were about $1 in the hole or so, $1.50 in the hole from breaking even in terms of the ROI. We're about $1 ahead after 2 days of handicapping with what happened yesterday. Now, on the card today, I did not have a good feel for it at all going into the Saturday program. I was honest with you last night. Then when the 3 key plays we had on the program last night, 2 of them scratched in races, 4 and 5 or 3 and 5 today. And I just threw everything off. We had 1 key play left on the card. The horse was 30-1. Ran a good race, ran a good third, was in the mix all the way throughout, but didn't help us cash anything by running third. Second, we could have got a little bit on the exacta, but no luck in running third there. So I feel better about the Sunday card. I'll say that honestly. I only have 2 favorites picked on top on the entire card on Sunday. They're in the final 2 races on the card, so we can make some money all day long and then coast into the wire in races 9 and 10 on the Sunday program. Let's take a look at the overhead snapshot of this program and see how it lines up for a 10-race card at Keeneland with the big stakes races coming up in the final 3, the Indian Summer, the Spinster, and the Bourbon. Early pick 5 is going to start in the opener. Key plays again, coincidentally, coming up early in the card. Races 2, 3, and 5. Those are the races I like on the program. So as you can tell, with the pick 4 starting in race number 2, including 3 key plays, the early pick 5 will have 3 of my key plays in it. Early multi-race wager is probably where we're going to attack mostly on this card. Pick 6 begins in race number 10. We've got the Keeneland Turf pick 3 in races 5, 8, and 10. 2 of those will be stakes races. We wrap it up with the Toyota Super High 5. First post on Sunday is at 1 o'clock. So let's get handicapping here on the card. We start things off on Sunday with race number 1, a maiden claimer going long on the main track. These are 3-year-olds and up. Nobody really wants to be in a maiden claiming route race. You just kind of wind up there. You're not fast enough to win a sprint. You're not good enough to run in a maiden special. So these are horses that don't have a lot of talent. So any advantages you can find at all with a horse might be good enough. Slight class drop and the rail. I think maybe we can get forward with number 1 in here, Sound the Victory, and pull a minor upset. Rudy Brisset does pretty well with his horses. He drops into maiden claiming races at Keeneland. This horse ran for the 50 tag at Churchill. I don't see a ton of speed in this race. So if Florent Giroux, who usually likes to press the gas pedal coming out, does, I think the 1 can be right into the mix. The 5 moving to Kentucky is going to show some speed. Maybe the 7 Anchises will show a little bit of pace as well, but not an overwhelming amount of speed in here. I don't think you need to be wire to wire, but you don't want to lose the advantage you have of being in the 1 hole going a mile and 16. Short run into the first turn, but we've got a good speed jockey in there. So I'm going to go with the 1 in here. Sound the Victory is my top choice. As we look across, nobody else has the 6-1 shot in their top 2. Only Tom's got Sound of Victory in the 3rd spot. So I like this. We're getting off to a good start. I think where we've got a horse we like a decent amount, and we're going to get a fair price. And other handicappers aren't on this horse, so I think that fair price could hold. The 7 Anchises is the 9-5 morning line favorite. This is a horse I've got in the mix. A horse for Safi Joseph coming up from Gulfstream Park. Didn't show anything at all for the Bill Mott barn when running in New York last year. 3 starts this year have gotten, progressively even, but they were all with class drops. So this horse is kind of going easier. This spot's not going to be any different than what you ran at the bottom at Gulfstream in that mile. Got beat at 3-5 odds. So if you get beat at 3-5 at Gulfstream for $25,000, I don't need to take a short price on the 7 coming back here to Keeneland, where it's certainly going to be every bit as difficult as what that last race was. Anglican, the 4, was a horse I really thought about picking on top. I actually had this horse on top and switched to Sound of Victory and kind of I was arm wrestling with myself which one to take on top. But Anglican drops in for a maiden claiming tag for the first time. Does have 1 race on a main track that was sloppy at Horseshoe Indianapolis prior, and since then has been running all on turf at various tracks. With some success and some failure. Vicky Oliver goes to Luan Machado there. Connections that don't usually get overbet for sure. So maybe you can get a fair price on Anglican in there. 1 and 4, the two I want to take in there, though. I'd bet against the 7 and not use the 7 at all in the multi-race wagers. If that horse at a short price beats you, you'd kind of tip your cap and move on for him. So 1-4 for me to get through the first 2 legs of the early pick 5. And a win bet on the 1. Sound the victory anywhere near that 6-1 looks fine enough for me. On to race number 2 we go. It's our first of 3 key plays. It also starts the early pick 4. Maiden claiming $50,000 level in here. I'm really on the 12 in here, Miss Tiffy. Let's take a look at the other handicapper selectors across the way. The 12 is 6-1 in the morning line for trainer Jimmy Baker. Miss Tiffy top pick in here for Gabby as well and Scott. So are we going to get the 6-1? We're going to have to find out here. Maybe this price will go a little bit shorter. I love the Churchill horses in these maiden claiming races for the 2-year-old fillies like this. Has a little experience at Churchill. That's the way to go. Comes out of a restricted maiden special. This will be a little bit easier spot. And prior to that, ran good at Ellis Park in the first start on the turf. So 2 fair efforts from the 12. Outside post here. Shouldn't be that big of a deal in a 6 furlong sprint race. Fair run to the first and only turn in here. And we really don't know what the speed looks like with so many other first-time starters in this race to the inside. Gabe Saez should be able to get a fair trip out of the 12. 6-1's what I want, though. If 3 of us have that horse on top and the price drops a little bit, maybe we're not too wound up at that particular price. The 10, wherever we are, for Wesley Ward is the second pick in here. Ward did win with a 2-year-old maiden claiming first-time starter on the card today, Saturday at Keeneland. He'll try to pull it again with wherever we are in race number 2. Johnny Velasquez rides that one. But again, morning line favorite in here is number 7, Loves the Answer. And I don't like Loves the Answer in this particular spot. Maybe the morning line's wrong. Maybe the public won't go after this Horseshoe Indianapolis runner. But the source has had 3 shots in the maiden specials and gave lengths in the stretch each time going 5.5. Now you've got to go 6. Yes, the track's playing fast, but this horse isn't a natural speed burner. Just a horse that doesn't look like can get the trip to me and get the entire 6 furlongs. Looks a little too cheap for this company, I think, with the 7, Loves the Answer. So I'll try to beat that one. We'll put that one down towards the bottom of the ticket if you consider the 7 at all in here. But we hear you. The 8's a horse from Ellis for Brett Calhoun. Give that one a little bit of a shot in here. Second start. Didn't do anything in the debut on the turf. Going to treat him like a first-time starter. Brett can get the young horses ready to go. But for me, it's the 12 and the 10. Again, I don't want to go any deeper than 2. I'm on the 12 in here. Miss Tiffy, I think this horse is going to run a big race coming out of the race at Churchill. Anything more than 7-2, 4-1, I'd be more than happy to take. 6-1 in the morning lineup. But again, with 3 of us taking that horse on top, we're probably looking at something in that 3-4-1 range. And that would be fine with me. That's our first of 3 key plays on the card. Number 12, Miss Tiffy in race number 2. To the third race we go, another key play on the program. So when we get key plays in back-to-back races, we like to take advantage of the rolling daily doubles throughout the card at Keeneland. And a reminder, daily double takeout reduced to 15% here in 2024 at Keeneland. So used to be 22, I believe, for the double. So 7% off for what it used to be. So that's a good savings for horse players, good value play for horse players with the lower takeout wagers. Just like you're shopping, right? You want the best deal you can find. Daily doubles are good deals when you have an opinion and you can match up a couple horses in a row on a card in back-to-back races. We've got that situation with the way things line up in races 2 and 3 on this card. So we're going to try to get a daily double roll here into number 6, Rather Distinct. Race number 3, going to be a horse that I want to take my shot with one of my key plays of the day. This is another daughter of Justify running on the turf at Keeneland. These Justifies have all run exceptionally well. We've chased a couple with the meet. They've all run well. We just missed by just a bobbing nose in running second in the stakes race in the Jessamine Stakes on Friday's card with the Justify on the turf. I'm looking for the 6, Rather Distinct, second career start. Comes off a good debut, bumped at the start, rallied up a little bit, and the winner was a runaway winner that day, Vixen, but this one outran the odds. You go from Jareth Loveberry, a solid journeyman jockey at Ellis Park. Now you get the Hall of Famer John Velasquez. Rather Distinct, the 6 is 15-1 in the morning line. We're not getting 15-1. Look, Tom's got this horse on top. Scott's got this horse on top. So we're not getting 15, but do we get 5, 6, 7-1? If we can get that kind of price, I'm just fine with that. But anything 5-1 or more, Rather Distinct, one of my key plays, anything close to 15, that morning line offering, and we're jumping all over that. But give us the 6 in here, Rather Distinct. The 12, Bembridge Ledge, is my second choice in here. Luis Saez picks up the mount for Mike Maker. Again, Saez with a 3-win day here on Saturday at Keeneland. He's rolling along as you would expect. This horse comes out of the races at Kentucky Downs. Always have to respect the Kentucky Downs turfers and their form when they show up here at Keeneland. Golden Sunshine's the morning line favorite, 3-1. I don't think there's any huge advantage for this horse. I do think the horse does come out of 2 decent races, one at Indianapolis, one at Kentucky Downs. Medaglia d'Oro filly usually does good siring the fillies, as we know, for Godolphin. Golden Sunshine could be okay, and I would use that horse in the 4th slot, 6, 12, 10, and 8, the way I've got it lined up. And one of my key plays here, rather distinct. So I want to get the 6 with the 12, the 10, and the 8 in all my intra-race bets, whether I'm keying them in the try on top or using exacta boxes. 6 over the 12, 10, 8. I'm really going to attack this one. Rather distinct, the horse I like quite a bit here in race number 3. And I'm definitely looking at the daily doubles in races 2 to 3 in this particular spot. In terms of a multi-race wager, would you single? It'd be a bold single, but I'd be willing to do it in this particular spot. I like rather distinct, and I play to win. I don't play to be defensive when it comes to multi-race wagers. So I can play a ticket for more multiples if I keep my number of combinations down, or I can save money in budget and just play a smaller ticket if I keep my combinations down. In this particular case, I will. So back-to-back races, I think maybe you go too deep and you use the Wesley Ward horse in race number 2, use the 12 and the 10. But in this particular spot, I think if you go beyond the 6, then you're going to look at the 12, the 10, and the 8 all about the same in race number 3. I don't want to go 4 deep in a race where I have a strong opinion. So we're singling the 6 in this particular spot in terms of the pick 3, the pick 4. And again, in that rolling daily double, we want to make sure we get some of that. 4th race, let's see. We go on to, race number 4, next up on the program. These are 7 furlong maiden special weight 2-year-olds. No multi-race wagers begin in here, but again, this is a linchpin race. It's in between all of our key plays, so we want to try to, net this one down and whittle it down and see what we can come up with. I think there's some good multiple options in this particular spot. Good looking first time starting 2-year-olds in here. Maiden special going 7, where this could be one of those future star kind of races. You might see some horses down the line who are pretty good out of this one. The 6, Tremendously, is the one I gave the top pick to in here, but certainly could make a big case for number 3, Sir Gallivant. Sir Gallivant's the morning line favorite, Tremendously at 9-2. Both first-time starters. 6, Tremendously, trained by Brian Lynch. He won the nightcap today on Saturday at Keeneland, so off to a decent start for the meet. One of the reasons I like Tremendously is if you look at the breeding of this horse and the sire line, Tremendously sold for $300,000 in March of this year at the 2-year-old sale in Ocala. The sire Honor AP stands for $10,000. $10,000 stallion produces a horse who sells for $300,000 as a 2-year-old. That tells you the 2-year-old in trading sale, this horse really impressed with the work, with the way the way he physically looked. This means this colt could be ready to win right out of the gate. Win early kind of horse is what we're talking about with this. So with Tremendously, that's why I want this horse on top. Bullet Workout, you get John Velasquez riding for Brian Lynch at first asking. They team up at 21%. So while Sir Gallivant is the horse probably more people will be interested in as a first-time starter, it's Brad Cox, big connections there by Practical Joke, who gets a great 27% win rate here on the main track at Keeneland. There's a lot of reasons to like number 3, Sir Gallivant, but I think number 6, Tremendously, is cut out to be a win early candidate and will be a better price of the 2. I definitely want to use both of those first-time starters in this spot. Also, a couple other horses you can consider. Number 10, Montador. This is a second-time starter. This horse, Montador, for Mike Stidham, debuted at Colonial Downs and ran second to a horse named Pascaline. All Pascaline did for Arnaud Delacour is come back and win the Laurel Futurity in the second career start. So Montador faced a good one in the debut. Mike Stidham trains this son of Nyquist. This is a Godolphin horse, homebred for Godolphin, adding blinkers. Would not be surprised if the 10 Montador in the second start is awfully good. And then the 11 Cromwell, I'm throwing this one in, $500,000 first-time starter by Quality Road for trainer Cherie DeVoe. We talked about Cherie having a big day today. She had a good day with that horse who ran off the screen, Montecano or Montesino or whatever that horse's name was on Friday, who ran so fast in the 7 furlong race. So Cromwell, the 11, you've got to consider and move up into consideration here, as well as Cherie DeVos horses are running. They're not just running good, they're running exceptionally good, all of them. So I'm going to move the 11 up in here. 6, 3, 10, and 11, all very live in here. You want to watch the tote board, try to find some value. Probably won't get value in the 3 Sir Gallivant. That Brad Cox horse will probably get bet. Maybe over bet. He might be the least value of the 4. But in multi-race wagers, I want to use all 4 of those horses. And the fact that I've got some key plays around them, I've got the budget to use 4 now. So race number 4, you're using 4 because there are 4 good options. The one thing I like to do when I have a race where I spread, I want to spread in the races where there are a lot of good options, not where there are no good options and you're just spreading with a bunch of bad horses. I don't like that. I'll rather sit those kind out than spread with a bunch of bad horses. That race number 4, though, has some good options to go after, and that's why I'll be 4 deep there playing the multi-race wagers. So next up on the card will be race number 5. It'll be my third and final key play on the card. It also starts to pick 6. And the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 starts off in this one. This is a turf sprint, large field turf sprint. You've heard me say this many times over the years. And today you got another lesson in it. The power posts 3, 4, and 5 have an inordinate amount of success statistically in turf sprints at Keeneland with big 12-horse fields. This is what we have again in race number 5, just like we had in the stakes race today where our shot, our top pick, won. The 3-horse was a big bomb, ran second. The exacta was 195 to 1. The $1 exacta paid $195 with the power post in today's stakes race, the Woodford. We come back here in race number 5 on the Sunday card, and I think there's a horse in one of the power posts who could be exceptional. I don't know if he's going to like the turf. There's pedigree on the dam side for it, but his name is World Record. He's in post 5. I love this horse in the grade 1 Alan Jerkins last time. I thought he was going to win the grade 1. Now he's back in allowance conditions here. I think he's really exceptionally talented horse. He was down on the rail, went really fast in that race and kind of got cooked over 7 furlongs. Back to 5.5 furlongs. I don't think they can catch what they can't catch. I think he's just going to go barreling out of there. We don't know if the Gunrunner colt likes the turf or not. There's no record of that, of course, in his running lines through 5 starts, but he's out of a British mare with some Australian pedigree. There's grass all over the dam side, so I'm going to take my shot World Record here as my third key play of the day coming up in race number 5. It'll start the pick 6 and also, like I said, kick off that Keeneland Turf pick 3. Around the horn, nobody else has World Record till you get to Kim. We've got 2 people with World Record on top, but nobody else using the horse in the top 3. So I think we can get a fair price here. 9 to 2 in the morning line. If we get somewhere around 9 to 2, I'll be very excited. This horse was 6 to 1 in the Amsterdam grade 2 stakes when running off and winning that. 5 to 2 in the Maxfield Stakes at Churchill. Here we are in a straight 3-year-old allowance race in a turf sprint. And if we can get 9 to 2, I'd be happy as a lark to take that. I'll be singling World Record and putting all my ducats, in that one's corner, knowing that if World Record runs to the dirt form on the turf, they are running for second place. Now, if he doesn't handle the turf, then the next best horse, I think, in the race is Spirit's Mischief. Spirit's Mischief, the 8 for trainer Wesley Ward, comes off a win last time at Saratoga on the turf. You always have to look at these Saratoga turf sprinters in these kind of situations, and Wesley Ward wins more turf sprints than anybody at Keeneland over the last 10, 20 years. So certainly a lot of respect there. Power post 3, 4, and 5. Joe Shiesty in the 3. Not wild about that one, but has had some flashes. Won the William Walker at 29 to 1. So you can throw the 3 Joe Shiesty into your ticket. The 4, How's Your Attitude? Maybe not the greatest form for turf in there, but you'd have to see. But if you're going to throw another horse in from the power post where you said, look, I'm going to try to do what we did, in the exacta in the stakes race today, then the 3 Joe Shiesty might be the long shot that you want to mix in here. 5, 8, 10, 2, 3. I think there's some combinations, but I love the 5 on top. So you play the 5 on top, and then your underneath combinations. If you're going to use 3, 4, 5, 6 horses underneath and say a trifecta key, then I'd throw those other power posts in there for sure, along with horses like the 8, the 10, and maybe the 2 in there, Run Carson as well. Run Carson, morning line favorite here at 4 to 1. No knocks on his form for sure. I just don't like posts 1 and 2 in these turf sprints with the big fields. They statistically are disadvantaged. But 3, 4, and 5, that's where we want to start punching when we come to these turf sprints. All right, let's go now let's look at the other picks for the handicappers across the way. Carson Run, that morning line favorite, is picked on top by Scott. Spirit's Mischief. Hadwig. So 5 handicappers, 4 different horses picked on top. I think we're going to get our price. 9-2 looks fair on world record. I would go down to 3-1 and probably be pretty happy with that runner. I'm singling the 5 for the multi-race wagers, and I'm going to key him on top in the intra-race bets here and try to hit some big bombs underneath if we can get lucky with the horse. Horsepower, the 10 in there is a good value play. I mentioned him by number, but really didn't give any kind of case that I made for him. But Paco Lopez rides horsepower, 20-1 in the morning line. This horse has good turf sprint form, and there is no better turf sprint jockey in the country, and I mean this, than Paco Lopez. He is fantastic in turf sprints. Joe Orsino's had some really good turf sprinters over recent years. 20-1 in the morning line to 10 horsepower really is interesting to me underneath. So I got a horse I love on top. I've got some prices I like underneath. I'd use the 3 and the 10 as bombs underneath in here with some other logicals. Chance of really attacking race number 5 for the intra-race bets. Try supers. We'll get after them here on the race number 5. To the 6th we go. We hit the back half of the card. The late pick 5 starts in this one. Starter allowance company here, 6.5 furlongs. Starter allowance means you're eligible to run in this race if you've run for a claiming price of a certain level over a certain amount of time. So if you've dipped your toe into the claiming waters for $10,000 or less in the last 2 years, you're eligible to run in this race. What I try to do is find horses that look least like a $10,000 claimer. If you've been running for $10,000 all the time and you run in this race, you're a $10,000 claimer. But if you're used to running for bigger races and you ran for $10,000 once, you just got eligible for this race, but you've been running against better competition. If you look at number 3 in here, Like a Salt Shaker, this horse is the classic horse who was claimed for $10,000 way back and is doing or had run for $10,000 once way back, and it's just running out these starter allowance conditions with a lot of success. 8 wins over the last 2 years, 15 for 36. When you see horses with these gaudy win records, a lot of times they're starter allowance horses who just have a class edge. I like this horse a lot. Like a Salt Shaker, Brittany Vandenberg, high percentage trainer, Chris Amy, the Illinois connections teaming up here. This horse came in here, won a $10,000 starter allowance, 7 furlong race back last October 11th, comes back almost a year to the day, the same race in the condition book probably that it was last year. Last year's win was at 7 wire to wire. This is at 6.5. I just think it's going to repeat again. Like a Salt Shaker for me, the 3 horse here in race number 6. Let's see what the other handicappers have in the 6th race starter allowance. Nobody else taking the horse who won this same race last year. Everybody's got Like a Salt Shaker second or third, but are trying to take a creative way around maybe, or just prefer another horse. But at 8-1 in the morning line, I'll take Salt Shaker at that price for sure. Top Gun Tommy, the 10 is a 4-1 morning line favorite. So wide open race on the tote board, according to morning line maker Nick Tamaro, and it might just turn out that way. And if you look at the other handicappers, 5 handicappers, 5 different horses picked in this race. I've got the 3. We've got Gabby with the 4, Tom with the 5, Kim with the 7, and Scott with the 9. 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. All get top picks in here. Nobody taking the morning line favorite. I'm in on the 6 horse here, though. Give me the 6, or I'm in race 6. I'm in on the 3 horse here, Like a Salt Shaker. Looking for the connections to come back and win the race, basically for the 2nd year in a row in that 10,000 starter allowance group. Let's go to the 7th race on the card. This is a split division of what we saw in race number 4. 2-year-olds going 7 furlongs on the main track. Late pick 4 starts in this one. I'm going for a horse in here who might have been a better price had we not seen what the result was today, but Built is the 4 horse in race number 7. He comes off a 4th place finish in his debut at Ellis Park. Disqualified. Another horse was disqualified. He was moved up to 3rd in that. The winner that day was East Avenue, who won by 8 lengths. I was really impressed with East Avenue and said, any horse who was chasing East Avenue and ran incredibly behind him last time is a horse I'd want to play back this time at a little bit longer trip. East Avenue came back today and was absolutely dazzling in winning the Breeders' Futurity. And again, he may be the favorite or second favorite behind Chancer McPatrick, the winner of the Champagne today. One of those two is probably going to be the favorite for the Breeders' Cup Juveniles. So he Built in this race, coming off that race against East Avenue. He was 3-1 against East Avenue for Wayne Catalano. He was meant to be pretty good, and he ran a decent 3rd in the debut. Bullet workout sense. Give me the 4 Built here in race number 7. These horses that I like the horse in the 6th. I like the horse in the 7th, and they didn't even make my key plays of the day. So that tells you I've got a lot stronger opinions on this card than I had on the Saturday program. I was wishy-washy. I was looking forward to watching Saturday, but from a gambling standpoint, I didn't really have anything that I felt wonderful about. I like this card a lot more, as you can tell in the enthusiasm as we go through it. So give me the 4 built in here. This is a tough race, 5-1 in the morning line. I'd be happy with that price, but there are a lot of good options. So this is kind of a spread race. I said spread when you have good options. There are good options in this one. The 8 Tuscaloosa, $700,000 fast worker for Rudy Brisset and Windstar Farm. Windstar's already won a couple races at the meet. Tuscaloosa, the 8, could be a tough hombre. They're not too happy in Tuscaloosa tonight, though, getting beat by Vanderbilt today. Alabama Vanderbilt for our SEC football fans today, the upset of the year. So I don't know what that means for Tuscaloosa on Sunday. They're going to be hungover, upset, and tired on Sunday around Tuscaloosa. Dr. Sakali, the 7, is 3-1 favorite in the morning line. Brad Cox, good stats here. A Bolt Doro first-time starter who brought $400,000 at the Keeneland September sale, working pretty well. You could see the 7 in here. A lot of different options. The 10 and 12 both look good. Tavern Time, another one for Cherie DeVoe. The 10 I do not have in my top 3, but if you're playing a multi-race wager and you do not put Cherie DeVoe in your tickets right now, you're playing on really risky grounds because her horses are all running so strong. She gets Jose Ortiz to ride, 8-1 in the morning line. Tavern Time's another one, like we talked about with a horse earlier in the card, by a $7,500 stallion alternation, $7,500 stud fee. This horse at the 2-year-old sales brought $250,000. The 10 Tavern Time here in the 7th race. So again, this is a ready-made product. This horse must have looked really good back in May at the Timonium sale around Preakness time. Was purchased for a big number for an offspring of alternation. They wait and debut in the fall at Keeneland. 10 horse in here, Tavern Time, could certainly take some play as well. And the 12 Wise Decision, working really well. An American Pharoah first-time starter for D. Wayne Lucas. So a lot of good options that you can go for in this race. 4, 8, 7, 10, 12. There are 5 deep in here that I think you want to look at. But Built, coming off that good race at Ellis Park, has experience. The other horses are first-time starters. Give me the experience of Built in this race, and I'll take that one. And I think he might be a fair price because there are enough of these first-time starters from big barns for big price tags that are going to get bet that it might save the price. Everybody's going to know now, though, that third-place finish behind East Avenue was pretty darn good because we saw East Avenue today do what he did on the track. But an exciting race there in race number 7. Let's see who the other handicappers have across the way. Tuscaloosa, top pick for Scott. Tavern Time, the Cherie DeVoe runner for Tom Leach. The 7, Dr. Sakali for Gabby. And 1 I didn't even mention, Master Sommelier, the 6, top choice in there for Kim Nelson. So more quality options in a race that looks like this could be a good, productive 2-year-old race. Master Sommelier, a horse who's got back-to-back bullet workouts for Andrew McKeever. McKeever's barn doesn't fire big first time out, but certainly working like might be a good thing, and Kim Nelson's on that one. So keep an eye on the 6 as well in a very deep 7th race. Let's move right to the 8th race. Keep it here on the screen. I want to note that Dream Away is going to scratch out of here. Dream Away ran today, was cross-entered in the Speakeasy Stakes at Santa Anita. I had the inclination and word that he was going to she was going to Santa Anita anyway to run. So I didn't include her in my early picks, even though we had to turn these in 48 hours ago. I assumed she was on the plane heading to Santa Anita. She did run today, ran 3rd in a field of 4 at 1-5, 2-5 odds. So Dream Away was not good for Wesley Ward on the road, but you're going to see updated picks from the other handicappers that included Dream Away, including top choices for several of the handicappers. Knowing that Dream Away wasn't in this race, I went to Pharaoh's Dynasty, another Wesley Ward runner here in race number 8. It's the Indian Summer Stakes, and this is a race where 5.5 furlong turf sprint 2-year-old fillies are going at it. We've got a field of 12 power posts again, right? 3, 4, and 5, where you want to look. Well, Pharaoh's Dynasty is the 6, but I knew the scratch was coming, which means you're in the power spot. You're in the 5 hole in here because Dream Away was the 5. So you take the 6 horse in here, Pharaoh's Dynasty, from a power post. You get Out on Bail, the 4, in a good power post as well. I think we've got a good chance for a 6-4 exact in here from 2 of those good posts and something to look at in here and kind of sink your teeth into. The 12 Floodlights is another Wesley Ward. Ward's got the 6 Pharaoh's Dynasty, and this horse has a really good brisk late pace figure. In the career debut, got a 90 brisk late pace figure in that win at Belmont at Aqueduct. Didn't do anything at Kentucky Downs. Faded bad as the favorite. Some horses just don't handle Kentucky Downs. I think this American Pharoah colt can bounce back and be very effective in this spot. So Pharaoh's Dynasty, my top pick in here. I'm looking for a horse who can just finish a little bit because there is a lot of speed in this. And that 90 brisk late pace figure was pretty good in Pharaoh Dynasty's first career start. So that's my choice in here. We'll see what the other handicappers do with race number 8 in just a bit. Now, Tom Leach, the voice of the Wildcats, has been catching up with connections around the stable areas for a lot of the big stakes races that we've had this weekend at Keeneland. You can get all those videos on the Keeneland Racing X feed or on YouTube at the Keeneland fan page there. But as far as the Indian Summer Stakes goes, Wesley Ward's got a couple in here that Tom Leach caught up with him about, and he also talked about a horse he's got later in the Bourbon.
In the Indian Summer, you've got 2. Pharaoh's Dynasty had an off day last time. Any excuse?
Yeah, he kind of got away slow and checked a little bit there at the start, and then Johnny got him out there at the 3/8 pole, had dead aim on him, and he just he didn't do it. But sometimes 2-year-olds, if something happens early, just mentally it disrupts them. But I'm just making an excuse for him because from the 3/8 pole home, he had clear sailing and he didn't do it. So I was disappointed because I think very highly of the colt. So hopefully now that we're back on our home track where he's trained all his life, he rebounds and shows what he is. He's trained well, and his last work being the best, which is what you want.
What about the floodlights? Big effort last time.
Big effort? Yeah. I don't know if I seen it coming, but I sure was happy after. He ran a really big race there on the grass down at Kentucky Downs and had a couple nice works coming into this, so we're really happy with him as well.
And in Clock Tower in the Castle of Key Bourbon, comes off a nice win. Tell me how he's coming up to this race. He's
shown that he really has an affinity for the grass. An incredible sire, not this time, where he's on fire right now, dirt and grass and everything. So we're excited, and hopefully he takes to the course here at Keeneland and pushes through as well to the Breeders' Cup.
What has impressed you just as far as his talent? What skills are his best?
He was early on in his career. He was when we were in the breaking process last year. He kind of was unruly and very steady, and we gelled at the owners. Fortunately, let me geld him, and then his mind just turned to where he's just focused on his business. And he's a joy to train.
All right, thanks to Tom Leach for tracking that down. We're also going to hear from Brad Cox in just a bit about his runner in the Spinster, the great Idiomatic. So next up on the card is the Spinster Stakes, the Spinster race number 9, $600,000 grade 1. We've got the defending champion in this race in Idiomatic. There's been a lot of talk in racing circles this year. Is Idiomatic as good as she was last year? She was a Horse of the Year contender a year ago when she won 8 of 9, won this race, the Spinster, went on to the Breeders' Cup Distaff. She had some Horse of the Year consideration. Now, this year, she's only run 4 times, and she's got 2 wins and 2 losses, but her 2 losses are narrow. Is she as good as she was last year? The buyer speed figures say she's down about 5-6 points, but trainer Brad Cox didn't think so. When Tom Leach caught up with him, he thinks she's as good as she was a year ago. Let's go back to the video here, let you listen in on Brad Cox's thoughts about Idiomatic as she comes back for a title defense in race number 9, the Spinster, on Sunday.
Brad Cox brings Idiomatic back for the Grade 1 Jetmont Spinster for a second year in a row. What do you see compared to what you were seeing this time a year ago?
Look, I think she's just as good this year as she was last year. I think last year she was obviously still trying to somewhat prove herself. She had a Grade 1 under her belt last year, and this year she's been a little bit of a target in races, but overall she's two heads from having an unbeaten season, and proud of the year that she's put together and hoping to build off of it on Sunday. But I know she's every bit as good as she was last year based off training and how she physically looks.
Tell me about those last 3 works heading into this race.
Yeah, they've all been at Churchill. She had a great summer up at Saratoga, preparing for her last race where she was narrowly defeated. 3 moves have been really good there at Churchill. The last one on Monday was just a little bit more of a maintenance move, and she's coming into it in good order. She's shipped over. She'll school Saturday, and that's what we normally do with her, and hopefully she's ready to roll.
Let me ask you about Siesta Key and the Castle of Key Bourbon. 2 starts, 2 wins at Indiana and Colonial, so a little different path. What went into that thinking?
We had him at Ellis training, and we kind of thought he wanted to get started on the turf. It came off. We decided to run him anyway. He ran well. He obviously won. We wanted to get him on the grass. We just feel like with his action, the way he moves, he's moved forward on the turf. We obviously shipped him to Colonial. He performed very well on the turf. He was able to get up, get the job done. I think he's a horse that's going to move forward more with ground and just education and more racing. So, I thought this was the logical spot moving forward. It's a step up. If he takes a step up, I think he'll, be in the mix.
Off his training, do you think he's got to step forward in this upcoming race?
I do feel like he's moved forward over the last, month and a half, or maybe right before the Colonial race, he kind of started to act like he was, ready to step forward. He did, obviously, there at Colonial, and he's had a couple of good works since.
So we get to race number 9, and we find our first favorite on the card for me. Idiomatic, top choice for everyone across the way. All 5 handicappers have last year's champ on top. Candied the second choice in 4 of those spots. It looks like Idiomatic early, Candied late. They just look like the 2 class runners of this particular race. Of course, Candied, a winner of the Alcibiades a year ago over this track, then came back in the spring and ran a disappointing 4th in the Ashland Stakes, but no pace at all on in the Ashland. There'll be a little bit of pace on here for sure. I think Honor D Lady for trainer Safi Joseph likes to get up into the mix and press the pace. We're going to get some speed out of Loved in post number 3. The 6 Colt almost has to go stretching out in distance, and the 5 Bow Draw looks to be a little bit overmatched maybe on class, but has shown some front end pace too. Idiomatic's going to get right up into the pace. They're not going to empty her out in here and try to go 46 and 109, 110. Because the Breeders' Cup Distaff is the goal next. But I still think they're going to go quick enough that the others get gutted, and it probably just sets up for Candied to come along and close for second. This looks like a really chalky situation, a 1-2 exact in here, and not a bet intra race for me. Too short of a price to get excited about. Now, if I had a price in the last race, I'd say we'd be looking at a daily double. Use the field size of the second race in the sequence versus the short field with only 5 exacta combinations. But if you have a short price in the back half, like I do as well, there's a typo here in this graphic. I forgot to update it. I've got the 2 Warlander in the last race, not War Hearts. So it's going to be the 2 in the last race for me. So I'd be looking at back-to-back favorites for the final 2 races on the program. So I'm not going to look at a daily double with the 2 favorites at the end of the card either. So there's really, for me, not a real good way to get in and out of this race. Maybe we take the 6 Pharaoh's Dynasty in the previous race in race number 8 and play a double to Idiomatic, but I'm just singling Idiomatic in the multi-race wagers and trying to turn a pick 5 into a pick 4, a pick 4 into a pick 3, but a pick 4 is probably not a great play here when you have a free space like Idiomatic if you think she's the winner. If you think she's going to get beat, it's a great pick 4 to play because everybody's going to be singled to her. But if everybody plays this with Idiomatic and Idiomatic wins, the pick 4 is going to pay like a pick 3, and it's not going to be very lucrative to do so. So to me, you either play the late pick 5 or you play against Idiomatic if you don't like her. But in terms of a daily double and the exacta combinations, when you look at a situation like this, we talked about it last night, I believe, or the night before, but 6-horse field here in the stakes race in the Spinster. So there's only 5 combinations the exacta can come out, right? I mean, there's one with 5 other horses that could run second. When you look at the next race on the card, the Bourbon Stakes, there are 12 entered in there with also eligibles. There's 12 different ways a daily double can come in with the same horse winning the race. So you're just going to get better value on your daily double than you are on betting exacta. So if you are going to play this race with Idiomatic, you would definitely like a daily double into the finale versus trying to play an exacta in race number 9. My problem with the race number 10 is I'm on the favorite in here, the morning line favorite, Warlander, the 2. And for that, I'm not looking at playing 2 daily doubles where one of them's a 2 to 5 shot in Idiomatic to the favorite in the last race. I mean, is it the most likely combination to come in? Yeah, but I'm not playing races to get, 6 to 1 back on betting 2 winners in a row. You'll be lucky if you could get $14 out of a double like that. You might get, closer to 10 or 12 back on a daily double for $2. So not a lot of way to go at the end of the card. Like I said, I've got back-to-back favorites in there, but there could be some good intra-race bets in race number 10. So let's take a look at that. 10th race on the card is the Bourbon Stakes. Turf Pick 3 wraps up in this race, so definitely some interest in being involved here, even if you are to the favorite in the $3 Turf Pick 3. Nothing wrong with being alive to the favorite in here. Number 2, Warlander, who will be my top choice. Toyota Super High 5 in this race. If you key the favorite on top, plenty of chances to have prices underneath and still get a good return. So not a bad gambling race for the 12th. I just think it's a bad gamble, a daily double, race 9 in the race number 10. So again, want to reiterate here, I've got Warlander. I updated it on the website. If you go to the website and download the picks there, it is updated with 2 Warlander as the top choice. But when I cut and made this graphic earlier in the day, I forgot that I had to go back and change the typo. So the graphics uploaded into my podcast software. So number 2 is my top pick. 2, 6, and 3, the way I've got it in the finale. If you look across the way, Warlander also top choice in here for Scott, second choice for Tom, in the mix with all the different handicappers. I've got this race, say 2, 6, and 3. The 6, Cavallo Bay, Charlie Appleby, John Velasquez. A lot of respect there. Comes off a third in the With Anticipation Stakes. The 6 horse, Cavallo Bay, ran behind Zulu Kingdom, who since came back and won the stakes race in New York, leading towards the Breeders' Cup. So a back-to-back stakes win for Zulu Kingdom. So Cavallo Bay is definitely coming out of a good race. But Warlander's the horse I like. I think this horse can save ground, maybe sit second, get a good inside trip all the way around there. Comes off a win at Kentucky Downs last time. Steve Asmussen's already had a nice win. He had Zeitlos win here today. Jose Ortiz rides. Jose won 3 on the card today. So Warlander should get a great trip. 7-2 in the morning line seems about a fair price. 2 and 6 seem like the standout players in here, along with number 3, Siesta Key. This is a Brad Cox trainee in the Bourbon Stakes. We heard from Brad earlier talking about his runner in this race, Siesta Key, for Godolphin. Godolphin looking for another winner of this weekend. They just had the winner of the Breeders' Futurity today. So, and I believe Godolphin was also immersive, winning the Alcibiades on Friday. So already 2 two-year-old stakes wins for the Godolphin Blue this weekend. They'll try to get 3 with number 3, Siesta Key. Certainly a live performer there. 2, 6, and 3. I wouldn't have any argument with somebody taking any of those. Barricade the 7 for Todd Pletcher's Kim Nelson's top choice in here. And Golden Afternoon, Carlo Vaccarezza trainee coming from Kentucky Downs with a bullet workout since, is the top pick in for Gabby, and she should get a fair price on that one as well. But certainly 2, 6, and 3 horses you have to consider in here and maybe go even a little deeper. But for me, if you're going multi-race wagers here, you're singled to Idiomatic, you get into the last race. I think the favorite here should win in Warheart, but I wouldn't be surprised with some of the others. And if you want to spread and build your ticket out a little bit, I wouldn't have a big argument with that. You could save some on some of the other horses in other parts of the sequence. Late pick 5 starts in that 6th race, like a Salt Shaker, a horse I like quite a bit in there. If you were gutsy and singled there, you might get a fair price right off the bat, and then try to spread out as you go down the list, and then single the Idiomatic and see what your budget allows for the 10th and final. But once again, the 2 horse, my top choice in there, that being Warlander. All right, that's going to wrap it up with 46-minute mark here. Just coincidence, but we seem to hit right around 45 each night. We go into the Sunday card with sunny skies, 85 degrees in the forecast. Should be fast and firm for all the action. 1 o'clock first post time. Good luck, everybody. Thanks for sending it in today. $22 million handle today at Keeneland, up over last year for Fall Star Saturday. Hopefully we'll have another big Sunday for you on Spinster Sunday coming up tomorrow. Then a reminder, no more podcast until Tuesday night as we get ready for the Wednesday card. So we'll be back with you Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern to look at week number 2's kickoff for Wednesday. Have a great night and great rest of your weekend.